What's going on, everybody? Hope you all having a good day. Today's article is regarding the whole EA buyout situation. Basically, it has a $55 billion acquisition, is the biggest leverage buyout in private equity history. Here's why it has everyone terrified, and this is an article from the PC Gamer. And to be quite frank with you, not everybody is terrified. I'd say that a lot of people are kind of happy, but also you got to keep in mind that as far as Saudi Arabia goes, there's all sorts of like human rights violation issues on the plate over there. So it's not exactly the cleanest place as far as their reputation goes. But the one thing that I think a lot of people are probably going to be happy about is that a game like Dragon Age: The Veilguard will never ever be made ever again. That has to be one of the worst looking characters I've seen inside of a video game. And aside from that, I can't believe that something like this was just greenlit, where they were like, hey, this is a good idea, let's put it out for sales, and yeah, let's see where it comes back. IGN gave it a solid 9 out of 10, and for a game with such a high standing, it sure as hell fell pretty hard. You know, I was pretty surprised at the fact that this thing was given such a high rating, and all of a sudden, more than what, a year later now at this point in time? I don't even know, it feels like it's been forever, but I'm pretty sure it's been about a year, and that game is nowhere to be found. I have never, ever met a single person in real life who can tell me anything good about this game or can even tell me that they've played it. That's how crazy it is. For a game to have that high of a rating, it goes to tell you that, look, if a game is a solid title, everyone talks about it. Black Myth Wukong, everybody was talking about that. And you know, it's crazy when you see these things coming from a studio like EA. Obviously, over the past couple of years, they have been infested with a certain rainbow kind of crowd. And the problem we have over here is when you look at game development cycles, they are sometimes excessively long. Looking at things like Ubisoft, for example, you'd find out that things where meetings are being held about certain things which don't make any sense. Instead of them doing work, it's just meetings upon meetings upon meetings. And I think EA to some extent was probably in the same cycle. Now, one of the things that I think a lot of people have also been harping about is effectively there's a fifth Mass Effect game in development. Apparently that game has been in development hell for 8 years. And according to EA, apparently they've only got a small team working on it. For 8 years, you've got a game that's stuck in development hell. That makes no sense. Mass Effect used to be one of EA's biggest IPs out there. I remember back in the day, everybody talking about it. I got into the franchise very late. With the third entry, I played it just a little bit. And I said, look, I'd like to get into the whole thing all of it. And then eventually I figured out Mass Effect 1 is not available on the PlayStation 3, which is the platform that I have the Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 games on. So I've got Mass Effect 1 on Xbox 360 and 2 and 3 on the PlayStation 3. So yeah, I messed up there. My bad. Now, I never got to play Andromeda because when looking at it, it would just look like an awful game. When I saw the remastered trilogy, also awful. All of that coming in from EA. The other situation that we have to think about as well is, forgive me, I'm freezing over here. We're supposed to be in spring, but it feels like winter. And the other situation you got to think about is also Need for Speed as well as a franchise. I believe the last game was a few years ago, and since then we haven't really had much of anything. And to be honest with you, I was actually hoping that we would see maybe a remake of like Need for Speed Most Wanted sometime soon, and who knows, maybe now they'll actually get it. You see, by the company going private, they no longer have to answer to investors. They also don't have to, well, curtail to all of this other DEI crap, in my opinion. Maybe there's going to be something in there, but I highly doubt that Saudi Arabia is going to allow it. And what's worse is the Trump family is now involved with this firm as well. So from the US side and from the eastern side or Saudi Arabia side of things, I think that we have to just look out for a few things. For one, I think that maybe, just maybe, there'll obviously be a bit more censorship in some games. Certain things will probably be toned down. I don't think you're going to get like scantily clad women in Dragon Age all of a sudden in the next one, if it does come out. But one thing I do know for certain is that as far as the rainbow community goes, all of the LGBTQ stuff, that probably is going to get deleted. Alternatively, they'll pull it the way Spider-Man does it, where you have one version for the East and one version for, well, everybody else. So it would be fun to see how this all spins out. The thing about this though is you got to understand, now that they're going private, everybody's going to want to make sure that the company is always profitable. So all of these passion projects, all of these things where people like, hey, I have this idea, I want to do this, I want to do that, or I want to self-insert here, or I've got a friend who's gay, let's put him in this place as well. You know, it's probably not going to work anymore. They will obviously focus on their moneymakers, and I'd say that EA does have quite a long list of IPs under their belt. With the FC series, it's going to be probably a wild ride. They're going to probably milk that thing even more than what they already are doing right now. Alternatively, they've probably done a few tests and projections to suggest that, well, they're in the clear. They just got to make sure they keep this thing running, and obviously in a couple of years, they'll obviously come up on top. And that'll be it. We no longer have to answer to shareholders. You don't have to worry about money going out of the company. They can just pocket all of it for themselves. When you look at FC as well, as I doubt anybody's going to put that thing down anytime soon. It's just basically an addictive cycle. My opinion about the game is it's effectively just a copy and paste. That's it. Every year it's the same thing. They just update the kits, update the players, and that's it. From 2015 right till now, you can basically play the thing and feel the same. It just, I don't understand it. I get that probably the FIFA crowd or the FC crowd are a different bunch of guys. I mean, most of the people that I know who play that only play FC or FIFA. They don't play anything else. They quite literally, I know I had a friend who bought a PlayStation 5 day one for the sole purpose of playing FIFA. That was it. He does not play anything else. He only plays FIFA. Point blank. That's it. Nothing else. And I can understand where that crowd comes from. Now you also look at other titles like Battlefield as well. They're obviously competing with Call of Duty. And given the way Black Ops 7 is looking, yeah. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Battlefield 6 is probably going to be my first Battlefield game that I'm actually going to play like properly. While I have other games in my collection, I just haven't played them. Never have. And I always thought like Call of Duty was the better option, which is why I never really played them. Time as well is very valuable and I can't really waste it anymore. But looking at the way Black Ops 7 is turning out, I think Battlefield 6 looks a lot more fun. It has a lot more of what I like as far as a shooter goes. Now, you got to keep in mind, when it comes down to development, sadly, they are probably going to monetize the hell out of this. They have some of the worst monetization schemes out there. And to be quite frank with you, I don't see it changing for the better anytime soon. Especially when you're given games like FC 25, there really isn't much of a competitor out there. I don't even know if Pro Evolution Soccer is a thing. I haven't seen that thing around in years. I have no clue as far as competition goes for Battlefield. As long as they don't drop the ball on it and they make sure that the game obviously stays updated, relevant and fun, I'm pretty sure players will stick with it. Black Ops 7 is probably going to drop the ball maybe until the next Black Ops or next, well, Call of Duty comes out. Alternatively, they're going to probably just try to funnel more players into Warzone as much as possible. We don't know where it's going to go and we'll see where it ends up, but for now I think that as far as BioWare goes, they're toast. That is it. It's game over. I mean, looking over here, there's a related article to this, and let's just look at these three related articles, right? Ubisoft. EA CEO says company values to remain unchanged under new ownership of Saudi Arabia and Jared Kushner's investment firm. Doubt that. He's just doing that to probably reassure whatever crowd he has right now. But as far as values go as well, it probably means their monetization values. EA is reportedly about to be sold for a record $50 billion buyout by investor group that includes private equity and Saudi Arabia. Former BioWare lead writer reads the runes on EA's Saudi deal and speculates that guns and football are in, gay stuff is out, and the venerable RPG studio may be for the chop. And to be quite frank with you, if you've got a game like Mass Effect stuck in development hell for about 8 years, yeah, you guys need to be fired. You need to be cleaned up. Like seriously, 8 years just in development hell. Veilguard, absolutely horrible game. It's just poorly written. The lines are bad. It has some of the ugliest characters you can ever see in any video game. It has cringy dialogue everywhere. And on top of that, it's got these fake 9 out of 10 reviews everywhere. You know, that alone will tell you none of this is going to fly anymore. When companies go private, it's all about the profit. Not to say that it wasn't the case when it was public, but you got to understand there's a lot more on the line now. They're going to have a more tighter control on this. And they're probably going to be trimming off all of the excess weight. That's just, well, one big HR department. I'm sorry to say this, but I think for the first time, job cuts in this kind of industry are probably going to be a very, very good thing. And let's just see. Let's just hope for the best. It's not a good thing to lose your job. I've been in that position. I know what it feels like. You have despair and depression. You sit in a corner, a dark, dingy corner. You don't know when, what's going to happen tomorrow kind of situation. Can you keep the lights running? Can you keep the toilets flushing? That kind of stuff. I'll be honest with you. I don't wish that upon anybody. But as far as the video game industry goes, this is a problem which it created itself. If it just made good games, it didn't go down this path, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So with that being said, guys, I'm out of this video. Let me know what you think about it. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? And leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and you have a good day. Goodbye.